I've seen at least a dozen staff members that are simply holding signs that say, "Please maintain appropriate social distance." Nearly 5 months since Hong Kong Disneyland shut its doors amid the coronavirus outbreak, it's now reopening.
Hong Kong Disneyland is reopened!
I've arrived on its reopening day to see how amusement parks are operating amid a global pandemic. Since the start of the year, the coronavirus pandemic has resulted in the closure of theme parks worldwide, including Disney parks and Universal parks and resorts. The opening here could set the tone for how theme parks will operate in the future as lockdown restrictions ease around the world. Disneyland Hong Kong closed at the end of January, just days after the first case of COVID-19 appeared in the city. After a hiatus of close to 5 months, it welcomed its first visitors on June 18th with strict measures in place, including temperature checks at the entrance, compulsory usage of face masks, and operating at a reduced capacity. Similar measures are in place at Shanghai Disneyland, which reopened in May after a 15-week closure and has restricted its capacity to 30%, or about 24,000 visitors. Likewise, Universal Studios has also gradually reopened in phases at limited capacity. Nearly a week before Hong Kong Disneyland reopened, another major attraction here, Ocean Park, also reopened at 25% capacity with plans to allow up to 50% capacity.
Because the park's occupancy is so limited, most rides don't have a typical wait time that you would expect here. I just rode the Hyperspace Mountain roller coaster and pretty much walked right in.
If a guest's face mask slides off, I notice staff are quick to enforce the rule by asking guests to put it back on.
But of course, if guests are eating and drinking, they can take off their masks. I see a lot of hand sanitizer dispensers have been added throughout the park, and a lot of times I saw employees encouraging guests to use them before and after rides. Cast members are making cameos around the park, but because of social distancing measures, you won't have the typical Mickey Mouse meet and greet and things like that until further notice.
Even as theme parks reopen, a fast recovery is unlikely to happen anytime soon, with economies contracting and unemployment at record levels. The global amusement parks sector is expected to shrink by 2.7% to $71.6 billion in 2020, compared to $73.5 billion a year before. In February, Disney said that it expected to lose up to $175 million if its parks in Hong Kong and Shanghai remained closed for 2 months. And they did. To add to its woes, Hong Kong Disneyland was struggling even before the pandemic. At the start of 2020, the park announced losses of more than $13 million for the 2019 fiscal year, as social unrest in the city deterred visitors to Hong Kong. It doesn't help that Hong Kong has a small domestic market, unlike Shanghai. Loyal theme park visitors in the form of season pass holders have provided theme parks with a source of recurring revenue stream in recent years. However, that relationship may be under threat as purse strings tighten and safety remains a concern. Until COVID-19 testing becomes ubiquitous and a vaccine is found, the slump in visitors is expected to last for 2 years. For guests who want to visit here, they'll have to buy tickets online at least 7 days in advance and fill out a health declaration form.
Usually if you leave the park and you want to come back in, you have to show your ticket and you get a stamp on your hand. But because of health issues, now you have to show your ticket, and instead of a stamp, you have to show a photo on your phone that you took inside the park earlier that day, so they know that it was in fact you who was in the park. This has definitely been an experience like no other to an amusement park for me. Aside from the obvious face masks and social distancing measures, just being in an amusement park with a much smaller crowd has definitely been a different experience. Hey guys, it's Uptin. Thanks for watching. Check out more of our videos and let us know in the comments, do you see yourself going back to amusement parks anytime soon? While you're at it, subscribe to our channel and I'll see you next time.